Good morning, everyone. We are from the IISER Kolkata campus radio, and today we have our director, sir, Sri Sourav Pal, with us. Welcome, sir, to the interview. Sir, we will start with a very light note. We have a set of questionnaire. It is mainly we have sent a Google form around IISER Kolkata students community, and whatever responses they have brought up, we will just ask those. So actually, these are the questions the whole student community has for you. The first thing is, in a very light note, since it's a festive period in Bengal, how is this festive period for you, and how was it when you grew up to this age?
Yeah, this is a period where I think not just Durga Puja, but I think all of October, it's till Diwali, end of Diwali is a festival time in all of the country. And I think the mood changes, how we react to the festival changes depending on your age. So at a young age, you have a different way of looking at this festival. Even buying a simple shirt or a shoe was a great excitement that time. Today that is not excitement, but the excitement remains in different form. Many people who are very busy today, they think of this period as a vacation. So they go out, and in our old days, going out was not so much in fashion. They used to probably visit close relatives, go to the puja pandal, and just enjoy there. Today many people don't even go to the pujas. They just go out and stay in some mountains, seas, or wherever. So I think the forms change, but the enjoyment remains. The enjoyment remains, and even today, whenever October comes, it strikes a very pleasant chord in me, just as it used to strike when I was a child. But when I was in school, for example, I was in Ramakrishna Mission School, Asansol. So they used to have puja, Durga Puja in the school. So we used to see for 1 month the goddess being made actually, with the earthenware and all that. So mitti ka deke sab banate the, and we used to see that while attending school. So every now and then we used to go there and see how much it has progressed. So it was really exciting and beginning the last 7 days, it was almost getting final stage. The shops are getting busy, the moods are changing, and we used to enjoy every moment of that. Of course, that changed from school to college to more professional research, then the research becomes more important. So this becomes a kind of time when you just take a little bit of a respite from the research and think for yourself. Then, of course, you finally come to an administrator when there are a lot of other things which always are in your 24/7 in your head. And yet, I must say, this is the time where we feel relaxed, enjoy, and some amount of pleasant memories. And what is going to happen in the next few days? Always in Bengal. I think it's always a pleasant time. The literature in Bengal is very rich. So many of the local, like they come up with a special Sarodiya. So we have time sometimes to read those novels, poetries. I think certain things have not gone away, though the form has certainly changed as you grow old. Or I think the younger people are doing the same thing that I might have done at that age. Though the forms are still different because there is no mobile, there is no internet, so obviously things have changed.
So when we talk about the administration, how is being the director of the institute, how has the position modified you and what have you learned?
Yeah, the position certainly modifies it because first of all, the time for doing research reduces. So we are basically scientists. We came from research cadre. I can say that we are not coming from administrative cadre. So we are science manager, and for good reason, science managers are supposed to be scientists and not administrators for good reasons. But you have to also administer. So this is a new learning all directors have to do when they become director. In fact, many people who are in the faculty, professors who will become director, they have probably no idea of what it takes to become director at that stage. So many of us learn on the job. We did not have a training of becoming director, let me tell you that. On the job you learn, and I can only tell the best way to learn is to use your common sense. Common sense is the most important thing. And remember, as an administrator, your first job is to be transparent, fair, and give equal access to all. And that's the most important thing that one should remember. And then, of course, you have to look at science, what is important science. We are a science administrator. Budgeting, good recruitment. So those are very, very important. Look at the teaching component in an educational institution. Because I have been also in a research lab, director in a research lab before, like in NCL. So, lab to lab, again, lab to institution, things change in a directorship. But by and large, it's a very engaging job. And having done for very long time now, across institutions, not just myself, I feel that once I complete my tenure here, I go back to research and probably that will be very enjoyable time again.
Research without any pressure always, maintains that spark within oneself. Like you can do whatever you want to do freely.
Yes,
So-
that's very important. I can go back to teaching and research in a way that would be more. I'm still doing it, but that time I get more time,
Relaxed,
so it's
yeah.
more pleasurable experience. But certainly administration is an engaging job because you have to be always careful. And it's also a 24/7 job in some sense, like research.
Whenever.
Research is also 24/7.
So mine is always.
But different time, different time.
So you have been to IIT Bombay,
Yeah.
you have been to National Chemical Laboratory Pune and IISER. Strictly speaking, these three institutes have a different outlook. The NCL is a fully research institute. IIT Bombay has research, has academics, but its outlook is towards the industries, and IISER is mainly towards the research. So, being at the three places, one after the other, how do you see the change in the three institutes? And if any time your choice goes, and if you're given three chairs, which one you might take up?
It's a very difficult question because, first of all, emotionally, I grew up in NCL. So, my bias, I'll be slightly biased because the formative years, wherever you are, you start liking. You may not like initially. So, when I went to NCL, I never thought I would actually stay there for so long that I stayed. But I stayed almost 33 years. And so I didn't expect to be there. In fact, I was looking for exit options to another job within 6-7 years, actually, I should say. And we had one many of you know him, Dr. Mashelkar, R.A. Mashelkar, who was also our Board of Governors Chairman in IISER Kolkata. He was the director in NCL, and he told me on a Sunday morning I met him that IIT Kanpur and JNU were giving me offer at that time. So he told very prophetically, I still remember that, Sourav, you are not going anywhere. You and I are going to retire from CSIR. And actually that came true eventually. I retired from CSIR in the sense that I'm a pensioner from CSIR. So did Dr. Mashelkar. So I think it was something that I did not expect, but it happened. That I stayed in NCL for so long. And then, if I have to make a judgment today, a bias will come in. So, to answer that question, I have to first remove the bias. And it's not very easy. So, I'm trying to do that. I would say, yes, NCL is mainly a research institution. But it is not true that it has no teaching component. Because it has now the IISER and the NCL scientists are teaching PhD courses. But it's a different type of teaching IIT. IIT is an engagement of teaching and research, and you are right because of the fact that there are a lot of technology departments, there's a lot of focus on industry, but the chemistry is by and large same. If you look at the chemistry department of IIT, it is by and large doing similar things as the chemistry department in any IISER. They're mainly doing teaching and research, little bit more connection they can do with industry because of design and other innovation complex, but so do we have. I think there are opportunities for our researchers now to connect with RISE. And that was one of the first things that I would say is a successful thing that I did was to bring the incubation complex in IISER. Because there was no idea in IISER because IISERs are meant for basic science, so nobody thought of innovation complex. So as soon as I came, we applied to DST Nidhi scheme, and I defended this scheme within, I don't remember, within 4 months of my coming, and we got this big project. Today the money has come, so I'm very happy. It takes time, but I'm very happy that it is fructified. Because of COVID, of course, a lot of things took longer time than it should have been, and that's my regret. I will say that because of the COVID, a lot of things I could have finished which I could not. But other than that, I would say between the three institutions, it's very hard to decide because of different types of research, different types of work that is being done. But on the balance, I would say NCL. On the balance, but it's only on the balance. You have to remember that the IIT.
Some sort of biasness still works.
Some biases are there, so it is impossible to say in an unbiased.
33 years,
Yes,
we are
yes.
not even 33, right? Matlab.
Yeah, so it's not 33 years is a long time.
It's a long
Long
time.
time.
Staying there. So if you say that way, but if you ask me potential of doing great science, I think IISER. IISER has great potential in doing good fundamental science. Today, things have changed. Not even in IIT. With IIT, sometimes because of technology, these fundamental science gets a little bit diffused. So IISER that way has a tremendous potential. I would say all the IISERs. And IISER concept was great, and I was also involved right in the beginning when IISER started from NCL. We helped IISER Pune to come, so I have been involved with the IISER concept. So in some sense, when I'm saying NCL is there for 33 years, has been there, IISER has also been there with me for now 16 years, since the time it started, from 2006.
So we can say that you grew up in NCL, but you also were one of them who gave birth to IISER.
IISER, I contributed to the IISER
then-
system, so I'm very happy. So these two come out at the top, NCL and IISER.
IT.
But then, sir, another question I have. You are saying that IISER has enough potential. We need to do basic sciences, and for that we need to be in put hands in research. But then we have some statistics that one of the students, Amrita Kumar, not from IISER, it's a few years back, from a central university has commented that one must accept the fact that in academia people don't have any friends. Another fact we have that from the Department of Public Health and Community Medicine, Central University of Kerala, situated in Kasaragod, they said that among the students it has been found that 70% of the students are in some kind of in a stress or a depressive disorder, and out of them 41.7% is in a mild level, and 17.9% in a moderate level, and 6.7% in a high level. So this doesn't pose a good picture of it. So how do you see, or what is
Yeah, okay. These are actually the university students who are you reported University of Hyderabad and Kerala. The university is a much bigger thing. You have to understand ecosystem of university, because it is not just science and research of science. University of humanities. University is actually an agglomeration of thoughts, agglomeration of activities. It's a very big thing. You have to understand. So if the university is not working well, it can also introduce happiness of different kind, unhappiness of different kind, and happiness of different kinds if it does work well. So I think you have to understand that the perspective of a university student and the perspective of a science institution student is not necessarily the same. Yet you are right that if you take the similar opinion in the scientific institutions, possibly many people will hear very similar things, that there are depression, there are frustrations, and basic science and research always leads to some frustrations. You have to understand, great chemists like G.N. Lewis. If you look at many great, even Albert Einstein, many of them were unhappy because they could not do what they wanted to do. So I think the nature of the work is that you cannot be very happy. The question is, unhappiness should be directed to do good things. Eventually, unhappiness should come because you are not able to be as creative as you want. Okay, and that is a positive thing. You want to maintain your creativity, maintain your originality, and that's a problem all students have. That how will you do research? When they go to PhD, they think, oh my God, the path is so long. There are problems with sometimes supervisor, sometimes their problems don't work. So all that brings frustrations in a science institution. So I think that is correct, but one has to look at the perspective that in a science institution of IISER, it is not just publication, fundamental science, but the translation is also becoming important. In fact, I don't like to say basic science and applied science. Somebody said science and its applications. That's enough. So everything is science in some sense. If you keep that perspective, you will find there is a reason to be always happy because you are making an impact in the society. If you lose that, you are just doing a publication, research, which you don't understand how it is going to impact the society, you may become unhappy. Simply because one reviewer is talking your paper or you have problem with PI, but once you are able to connect to society, there is a happiness that you will get which is unmatched. So, yeah, I completely agree that at the student level, particularly PhD student level, there is a lot to address. And one has to see that the atmosphere is more congenial because in today's atmosphere, everybody has access to information, and that sometimes can depress me. When we did PhD, we did not have any access. You have to understand. So people today are comparing what I have done. Today, somebody gets a paper, first page immediately comes in Facebook. Before the paper is probably accepted or just as paper is accepted. I mean, that puts a pressure on others, you have to understand. So your neighbor's lab has published a very good paper, it puts a pressure on you. So those pressures are not there.
It was healthy.
Those days we just walked. And I don't know, we'll see how it works out. I think we have to create an atmosphere where doing science for the sake of science is what you enjoy and not to compete.
So like when we were talking about the time management becomes like difficult when you have inclination towards science. So is there any life regrets that you feel that you could have done better in that field?
Yeah, so I can tell you what I could have done better is certainly true. But more importantly, to be a good administrator, what is most important is to have time management. Time management is a very, very important part of the whole administration because you have to teach, to do research, you have to administer. So if you don't do time management properly, you are bound to fail at this level because you are doing multiple jobs. Multiple jobs, hats are changing. So just now I'm in a national meeting, then I have a local administration meeting, then next is an international meeting. Just now I was doing communal chemistry poster judgment, just now, from 5:30 in the morning. Okay. So the time zone was like that, 5:30 in the morning I was doing, it's a virtual online posters. So I was a judge in the energy and materials section. So a lot of interesting poster, N2 activation, CO2, things which are up to my heart. So it's enjoyable. I enjoyed it actually. I did not mind that I had to get up at 5:30. Once you talk to the young people, the young presenters, you enjoy. So you have to enjoy every job that you are doing. Do a proper time management. That will be my advice to be a good administrator. Come researcher, come teacher. But things which I could have done better is of course true. There are so many things I could have done better. It's very hard to say. As I said, because of COVID itself in IISER, almost 2 years, or at least one year and a half, things got stopped. So certain activities like construction, which really require longer term planning and so on, could have been done better. And even including many other things, which cannot be done in one day, which require planning.
Long-term planning, that to group planning.
Yeah,
So you need people.
I mean even recruitments and so on and so forth. But faculty recruitment, I could do quite a lot in the beginning, and of course after COVID, everything got slowed down, and so that is true. But today things are picking up, and the government is also giving a lot of emphasis on the recruitment. So we have, I think things will pick up very soon, and it's already happening. The other thing where I'm happy is that despite all this, I could actually give a lot of facilities. research facilities to the institute. And I think wherever there are non-functional instruments, I try to get them ready. Try to buy or procure state-of-the-art equipments which are necessary for our faculties. So I think that is one happiness that I have, that I'm leaving the institution with good facilities. And with the budget that we have got, I have been able to manage. In fact, I must say, the three most important job of the director is recruitment, of course, one. Budgeting is second. That's very important. The budgeting, and of course, the defining the science policy for the institute, for any institution, science planning, science policy. But budgeting is very, very important, because if you can't budget, then money may not be used for the right purpose. So budgeting essentially means what you spend for, expenditure. So what you get money from the ministry is something the ministry decides. But if you can spend money, you are likely to get more money next time. So budgeting is very important. Then the second part of the budgeting is the revenue generation. Apart from what you get from the ministry, can I get more money from outside? I think that is where I could have done better in terms of budgeting. Because, I got some CSR money from, in the very first year I came, for corporate social responsibility from industry. But in this region, as you know, the industry is not so well developed, and it has been a challenge to get a lot of money from industry, donations, like it is possible in places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune. I mean, that's a reality of the place. Yeah. And we are not, even in Kolkata. Even in Kolkata, that's a challenge. Most institutions are not able to do. But I think if the COVID were not there, I was kind of planning to invite a lot of industrialists here who could have probably donated. So that is one part where I think I could have done better also.
Sir, over these past 2.5 years, going on to 3 years, very different steps have been taken in case of education in India. The government has rolled out the National Education Policy of 2020. Then the KVPI has been stopped. There has been an increase in the GST from 6% to 18%, I believe, and 18%. And then
few awards have been
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
last
GST increase has certainly cut into the budget.
So,
but we have already written to the ministry, I must tell you. All of the IISER directors have written a letter very recently to the ministry, asking for a reversal of that. Of course, it cannot be reversed so easily because it is not for only one department. But we have asked for getting that money back in some other form, whatever we are using. Because let's say you have budget of 30-40 crores, okay, per year, equipment purchase. I'm talking only equipment, not salary, not consumable. Where this is coming. So it's almost like 13% increase in the GST. So that means 40 crore, 13% is about 5 crore, 5.2 crore that we are losing.
Yes, sir. So that could have been used somewhere else.
So, I mean, in some sense from the budget. So either the budget has to be given. And our argument has been that anyway it is going from one government fund to another government fund. So cannot something be done? That is our argument. Yes. So we will see. We have certainly have written a letter about this GST part. But I think every institution is being affected. Probably will reach an equilibrium in terms of budgeting. This is the first year it happened, so we are feeling the heat. Yet I have been able to somehow manage the expenditure of the recruitment so far in this financial year. But that's certainly a problem. The KVPI that you said is a completely different thing. KVPI is an enabler. Yeah, I feel it is sad that this has to be discontinued. But there are ground realities. In fact, for why it has to be discontinued, I am aware of them. See, IISc Bangalore, which actually manages this, just could not manage because they had to translate this KVPI test in all regional languages. In fact, that was one of the discussion, and they just said it cannot be done. Number two, there is a statistics, and I don't know the percentage. Among all the KVPI selected people, the persons who wish to actually take up science, very few. So they are doing so big an exercise only to enable few. So that was another reason. Of course, you can argue those few people are very important, no doubt. But those few people will get absorbed in Inspire and other things, other merit cum means fellowship. So they are good. So the good people, there will be no problem, I think. So I don't think at the end we should worry. I am sure the good people will be supported by the government. The meritorious people, the people who used to come through KVPI are so good that they will anyway get any other scholarship. And many others did not used to come. So you have to understand, these are the two main reasons why it was eventually decided to do this kind. Many people probably don't know this. And if you have to translate it in all languages, I think IISc could not do it. So IISc was the controlling authority. It is not IISc, for anybody it will be difficult. And in so many languages correctly.
Exactly. There used to be a gap. There has been cases.
So, I mean, it was very, very difficult to kind of continue the scheme as it is, but I'm sure there are alternative schemes by which they will all get fellowship.
So it has been an argument over past few days or past few years. I have personally come across that doing science or rather doing education in India is becoming much expensive, and education is just for now becoming for the people who have the money. What is your opinion, outlook?
Yes, I mean, partly it is true, but at the same time, you have to understand that the subsidy, government subsidy on education is required, I agree. But it was probably government, it was not possible to do the subsidy the way it was done, the manner in which it was done. Kind of fees that we used to pay, even if you factor the number of years of inflation and all that, is really nothing, those days. But today it is not possible because a larger number of people are getting educated, you have to understand. Today, a lot of people are educated. So if you look at the number, the subsidy will also increase. And that cuts into many other sectors, I suppose. So education has to be given some value. And yet I must say it is not given the market value. Which means actual cost, students are still not paying. So there is a large subsidy which is still going on. So you have to understand that. So I think it's the balance that we are trying to reach.
So in this context, some of our students have asked, though it is perhaps not up to the market value, so government is still providing subsidies, but there are students who still can't afford the fees that IITs or IISERs can actually go for it.
So for them, there has to be a merit cum means.
There has to be, but there is no such strong things, right?
No, so KVPI used to be there.
Used to be there.
Yeah. So KVPI
Now
used
it's
to
not
be
there.
No, but alternatives will come definitely in terms of Inspire. What we have suggested is the number of Inspire fellowships to be increased.
But Inspire is for the extreme cream layer who was 95% or more.
That will be increased. That's what I'm saying. So it will become like a scheme where there is a suggestion that it will become Inspire Plus or whatever. Some scheme will be there in which number of Inspire fellows will be increased. You have to understand that the number of KPPI fellows taking science was anyway very few. Inspire is such a large scheme, so they can easily absorb them. So I don't think that is going to happen. The problem that you are saying is something different, that people who cannot afford and those who are not so meritorious as the KPPI. Though very meritorious people, there will be never any problem.
So they will never have any problem.
So the second rate, who are not as good.
Yes, I mean they are
yet poor.
Not the 95%, perhaps
Yeah,
between
so that is what I'm saying.
80-85.
Don't worry about percentage, whatever. I'm just saying they are not in the top cream, but in the second layer.
But they want to pursue the subject.
Yeah, so for them, you have to enable. So, for example, there could be private donors, and that is what I said. That getting CSR in the very first year, I got a CSR. I can repeat from where I could give limited number of fellowships to the BSMS student. But after that, this CSR did not come. So I would really request the leadership, the future leadership, to look at how to bring the private institutions to donate money for merit cum scholarship, MCM scholarship, plus individual donations by faculty, staff, to enable this MCM.
a common fund where every.
So there also I would say that we should be more generous in donation ourselves, those who can donate. Then the third is the the all kind of generating money through people who are our broader stakeholders, like alumni. I think our alumni contribution is also insignificant. So while we are saying this, you should also think that those who are students and now doing well, why aren't they paying? So I think this is a question that the student community should also ask the alumni, which has never happened, right? We have, in the alumni meeting, we always say that, let each alumni pay even $10. I can tell you even that has not happened.
$10 means about
Nothing.
800
rupees. Nothing. But if each alumni pays,
Then it makes a huge difference.
imagine you have 1,000 alumni. So at least it will generate 8 lakhs.
that can support.
It can be support, limited support. Now $10 is nothing. I just gave $10 as an example. It should be actually $100. $1,000 per year. And many can afford, those who are reasonably settled. So I think everywhere, if you look at IIT and all that, it is alumni.
Very active.
Very active alumni they
which
have.
has built alumni and industry.
So
Industry money, industry money, corporate social responsibility, donation. I think we are weak in this, all this. So once that build, your question can be addressed. And this is possible. Certainly we have a locational challenge.
Yeah.
Being in Haringata, we have a locational challenge, I agree.
But that can be.
But it has to be overcome.
It has to.
And now with the RISE Foundation, I'm sure you can bring in more
That's true.
entrepreneurs here who would see the ecosystem, and if they do well, they can probably start donating. But most importantly, yes, those who can, and I will try to do that myself because I am in the Indian Chemical Council, ICC Executive Board, so I'm going to appeal all the members of the ICC to give donation to the IISERs, needy students. Then there are a lot of other trusts like Leela Poonawala Trust and so on, who are giving also donation to the needy students. So I think we have to kind of reach out to them, Cipla, sort of a lot of big giants, we have to reach out to those industries and project IISER so that they find a reason to donate. But I think, I want to do that myself. In fact, when I was director, I had personally less time. I had to depend on others to do this. But now I will have personally more time to approach them. So I think I'll probably be more effective in bringing donations to the IISER Kolkata.
After
This is over, actually. It's ironic actually, but that's maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
And before we end, we have a big question. We can't disclose the names, but we have done a survey through Google form and through the campus, and we have come across some facts. IITs, or let's be in our campus IISER, this is an institute of national importance, and it was supposed to be the place where the students from various parts, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Nagaland to Gujarat, should come up. It should have been a melting pot where we all get to know each other, make friends, have a good bonding. I am talking not about academics, not about research, just
Culture.
on the fact of campus life,
Cultural,
sports,
social.
culture, whatever, the social life. But then we came across students who were on the fact that their names won't be disclosed. They are saying that this institute is not the place where they can feel home. Like, it has been come up fact that students are making cubicles within themselves, and if one student is a outlier, when that person is trying to mix, that he or she cannot mix. And first of all, it was accepted that this is a stray incident, but this incident is actually now increasing, though nobody is actually trying to address that. So in that context, what is your opinion?
Yeah, this is unfortunate if this is happening.
That's happening. I mean, our
This is very unfortunate.
service-
I am not aware of it. But if you are saying it is happening, it's very, very unfortunate. I personally think that, I always think that I'm not only Indian, we should be able to mix with all citizens of the world, not just India. And within India, if this is happening, I'm very surprised.
Because that's the
I
fact.
don't know on what basis it is happening. Is it on an ethnic ground or is it on language, religion. Either of this is very bad, and I would say I condemn it right away if this is happening. I make my very strong message to the student community that this should be completely stopped. The fragmentation in terms of any such thing should be completely stopped. So everybody should feel homely, everybody should feel comfortable, and I request the student community to enable that everybody should address, and not on the basis of, probably you are talking in the basis of language. I'm not sure on what basis you are saying these groupisms, whatever you are saying. I can imagine probably you are saying language, but if that is happening, that is certainly bad. That is certainly bad, and I would request the student community to stop this. I think everybody should work together. Everybody should have a harmony, and yet, of course, I am telling you first. My first answer is that I did not expect this question at all.
We never wanted to ask this question.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it is not happening. That's my point. I have talked to various students. I did not think that it is happening. But since you are telling me it's happening, then it is not. And I have to then say that I don't
yes,
like
sir,
it.
because nobody will come up with this question at the very beginning, but we thought that let's speak about
Yeah,
it.
it's good that you spoke your concern, but I would again, in that case, only request that those who have such feelings should remove such feelings, if they at all have. I hope they don't have. As I grew up in different places in this country, so for me, it's more difficult to understand why this is happening. Because I have grown up in different places. I have stayed in all places, many, many places. I'm very comfortable all over India, mixing with anybody. So from Kashmir, Kanyakumari, I have friends from east to west, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, North India, everywhere. So for me, it's very difficult to understand the question itself. And I feel sometimes it is even beneath my dignity to answer such questions. Because it should never happen. I mean, it is a culture. We are not here to give them just education of that. These are values. I don't know how this happened because this is one country. So my only message is that I hope it is wrong. That's my first hope. What you said is
We
wrong.
all hope it's wrong.
Yes. And if it is right, my message is that certainly it should not happen. And I think all festivals, like in festival time, I mean, Durga Puja, Ganesh Chaturthi, Onam, Ugadi, then you have the Odia,
Utkal Divas.
Huh?
Utkal Divas.
Utkal Divas, yeah, and so many festivals. Assamese can also have their own festival, the Bihu. I mean, it's so wonderful. I love every single festival in India. As long as I'm in the campus, when students call me, I go. I could not go to Agomani this time, Ganesh Chaturthi, I was not in the campus. I was outside. Yesterday I went to Onam.
You attended the puja.
Huh?
You attended the Aarti.
I went to Aarti. No, I'm saying that whenever I'm there, I go. Yesterday I went to Onam. So it doesn't matter what it is. I even a very nice time, actually, as you know, yesterday. So it was good to mix with students of all views. And I don't know what prevents people from mixing with each other in a very free manner. I really don't know. But I'm surprised at the question itself. I'm surprised at your Google fact, whatever you have brought out with the fact. I wish it is not true. And if it is true, my message is that this should not happen. And I don't think we should talk about it. More you talk about it, it's very sensitive item.
Yes.
More you talk about it, it can actually get worse sometimes.
Yes.
And I assume it's not true. But and the feeling that you are saying sometimes happens. Probably it is not true, but some people are feeling. So you have to also understand from them whether the feeling is really justified feeling or it's just a feeling that is coming because of certain psychological reasons. I am not a person to really answer these questions. Are there verified reasons that they are saying that they feel uncomfortable? So I really don't know, because this is such a social thing and very individual thing. every individual mixes with individuals in a different manner, and every individual is different. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me to even appreciate this concern, let alone even answer, I would say. But, yeah, my message to this community is keep a harmony. You have seen me, I mean, I don't distinguish at all. No groups and all that. I hope that is what the spirit that should be there.
So, are there any home messages for the budding scientists?
Huh?
Is there any home message for the budding scientists of IISER Kolkata?
Yeah, I mean, see, the budding scientists, we have, I must tell you that I'm happy that despite 2 years of COVID or 1.5 years of COVID, I've been able to recruit 30 faculties. And right now we have almost run out of our faculty strength. Could have recruited more. But 30 good people, young people they have recruited who are budding, as you say, budding scientists, who are still budding scientists, young people. And so I'm very happy with that. Of course, there are challenges. Again, I would say whatever challenges we have is only because of certain vocational challenges, I would say. But I think IISER Kolkata is doing very well. So people want to come. If you look at the admission of the student, IIT admission student, you will see that Kolkata is a preferred option. If not number one, definitely number two option among the students. Faculties, I would say we get best faculties in the country, at least among all IISERs. I would not say country, it's very hard to say that. Among all IISERs, probably we get very talented faculty, talented pool of faculty here for whatever reasons. I mean, that is very, very important. And you have to also understand that this region, of course, produces a lot of bright scientists. So many of them want to come back to Kolkata, IISER Kolkata. And that probably has helped. So in certain things is positive, certain things is negative. But on the balance, our faculties have been very bright. I must say that many of them have brought honors, and I'm very happy to state this, that in my 5 years, and not many IISER can, outbeat us. In my 5 years of tenure, we have got 2 Bhatnagar Awards. We have got 6 fellowships of the National Academies of Science. Whatever today people can talk about the worth and all that, but 6 academies of National Academy of Science, which means Indian Academy, National Academy of Science, and INSA. But of course, these 6 are all Indian Academy and National Academy of Science. I'm sure INSA fellowship will also come. For people working here. You should not count people like us who came from outside, but people working here. But in last 5 years, it has happened. 2 Bhatnagar, 6 fellowships of the National Academies, then Swarna Jayanti. We have got number of Swarna Jayanti fellowship, number of young scientist awards of different kind. Okay, INSA, NASI, Associates of the Indian Academy of Science, and so on. So, if you look at our number of recognitions, national recognitions, from young scientists to the higher recognition, I think we are above all IISERs. I have done that calculation mentally in last 5 years. So we are, in that sense, we are doing very well. And of course, NIRF ranking also we are doing well. We can do better, but for different reasons. Yesterday in the Senate, I requested all faculties to provide courses online. SIAM, MOOCs, NPTEL, because there is a marks for that. We lost our marks. So I think there are some point of time graduating. I would also tell for NIRF outcome, graduating outcome has to increase. So BSMS students
has to increase.
No, not student number. Number of input output. So number of students passing out after 5 years, if it matches exactly the students who joined, then you are the highest graduate. That parameter. PhD also same thing. Are they going out in 5 years? BSMS, how many people are completing in 5 years? So I would say graduating outcome, little bit in outreach, PR perception. I am very happy that it is increased enormously. But where we can improve is this online courses, graduating outcome, and little bit of the outreach. Outreach we are doing well now. Where we can improve. The parameter where we have improved significantly is peer perception. Now, peer perception to me is very, very important. That means how outside people view IISER Kolkata. And they are all eminent people who are asked to vote. Not everybody cannot vote. How they view IISER Kolkata, that has significantly increased. We had 2 out of 100 when I came in. Year before that, 2 out of 100. When I came in that year, it got 11 out of 100 as soon as I came in. And then it kept on increasing. Today it is around 25, 30 out of 100. So this 100 is a normalized thing. Those who get highest is 100. It's a normalized score. And it is actually very close to IISER Pune. Whereas IISER Pune peer perception is much higher. And today IISER Kolkata has beaten in peer perception almost all other IISERs. And very close. Peer perception to me is very important because peers don't see the details. Peers only look at the whole institution at large, so they have a very broad understanding how the institution is doing well. So the broad understanding is that the institution is doing well. So if you go outside, ask, oh, IISER Kolkata now it is doing very well. Of course, all details are not good. But what you see is the structure, overall structure, and that's what the peers feel. And there we have done well. That's a very important thing. So on the average, you have done very, very well. But I know the details, so I am telling you where we can improve.
So we need to improve.
We need to improve. So the failures have to reduce. Then only graduating outcome will increase. PhD students have to go out in 5 years. BSMS students should not stay 6-7 years. So I have been telling that in the Senate. And failures cannot be only blame on the students. It's also blame for the faculty. And I have been telling that I'm openly going and telling. Let anybody challenge me, I don't care. If so many students are failing in my class, it cannot be only the class responsibility. And very similar students going to other places, they are passing. So I think we have to take the responsibility of what we should teach, how we should. I can't say, okay, I'm going to teach very high content and hence my students are failing because the content is very high. Then the question is, you should not teach. You should teach content which is appropriate for that age group. And they will slowly go on. So I think that pedagogy and the way we should teach should improve in a way that the graduating outcome improves. I am telling this openly. I have made this statement in Senate, so I have no problem in saying in public that is where we have to improve, I would say. I don't want to pinpoint what are the subjects and all that. I think all of us know this. I don't want to pinpoint. But this is one. Outreach is little bit of the outreach. The third is, of course, I said about this online thing which has come recently, online teaching. And a fourth parameter where we can do better is to get money from the extramural research. That is, get more projects. We are doing well. I must say among IISERs we are doing very well. But I think we can improve that, get industries to engage. Again, I come back to that, getting industries, getting CSR, corporate social responsibility, getting donations of any kind will improve this area. Completely, I can tell you. The fundamental research is already there. And just it happened, then I hope it will happen because of the RISE Foundation. I again come back to that. Because that is what's going to change the ecosystem forever. I hope that happens.
So, thank you, sir. So that was for the day. And we expect to be with the IISER Kolkata family throughout whenever we need it.
Of course. So I think, one of the things that I have always believed, wherever institutions I have been there, like NCL, IIT Bombay, I'm still engaged. Okay. In IIT Bombay, I still have students for whom I'm co-guide or external co-supervisor, whatever. That is external co-supervisor. So in some sense, I attend their pre-synopsis, what they are doing, discuss with them. NCL, okay, right now I don't have any students, but all of them have graduated. But I still get myself engaged in the activities of NCL. In fact, just now I'm talking, today there is NCL Foundation Day. Okay, so I've been invited to attend that. Then I'll probably attend for some time. So I'm just trying to say that we are engaged with NCL. And NCL has a very nice system that the directors, whoever is the director, there is a system of bonhomie, cooperation. It's a very nice thing. So I'm engaged with both the institutions. There is no reason to think that I'm not even engaged with IISER Kolkata. Because I've been a person who kind of moves everywhere. So without knowing where I am, you'll suddenly see me in the campus. without any announcement, I may come. So, you know, suddenly I tried to help. And as I told you, getting CSR and certain things, well, my personal help will be quite beneficial. IISER Kolkata will actually get that now that I have more free time. So I will remain engaged, no question about it. And I will try to address, whenever I come, I can even address through students. If they permit, I can address students and tell them what is good, what is bad, and whatever is our wisdom, whatever it's worth, I can tell.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for taking this small piece of interview. It was nice to see, and I think at the end I can say I'm very happy. I enjoyed my time in 5 years in IISER Kolkata personally and professionally, and the people have been very nice to me. I must say that. Almost everybody, faculty, staff, students, workers, all have been very nice, and I think that is very important. It is very hard to be a director and get blessings of all before you leave. It's not very easy. So, I'm very happy to be blessed by all, and I hope that it continues. Thank you.